I'm Mia, 31 years old. Even after graduating college, I've been living at home and contributing $2,000 a month to my family. My dad left us with a considerable amount of debt, so there was literally no income at home. I know my job, an hour's commute from home and with lots of overtime due to my responsibilities, is physically draining. I get it. I should move out and rent a place closer to work. But my mom, who claims to have menopause and migraines, refuses to work. Not only that, she can't even manage household chores. I had no choice but to take care of everything. My mom has zero life skills, and if I didn't keep an eye on her, she'd mess up big time. And so, life went on like this for a while. Something important has come up. Make sure you're home this upcoming Sunday. I got a rare message from Randall. Randall's voice. I haven't heard that in a while. Randall, 3 years older, and Kayla, a year older, showed up looking anything but like 30-something parents. Both had blue and green hair, tons of piercings. Randall dressed like a punk. Kayla wore a skimpy, trashy outfit. While they seemed to think they were stylish, Randall and Kayla's fashion choices were completely inappropriate for their age, making it difficult for me to keep a straight face. They walked in without bringing any gifts, and upon seeing the coffee and cookies we prepared, snickered. Wow, how lame. Yet they dug right in, scattering crumbs everywhere. After having 2 refills of coffee, Randall let out a contented belch and suddenly declared, "From now on, we're living with Mom, so you, the moocher, need to leave." Both Kayla and Mom nodded in agreement, eyes on me. Caught off guard, I was taken aback by the torrent of insults that followed from all 3 of them. Still leeching off your parents after 30, huh? A useless bum who can't stand on her own 2 feet. A pathetic 30-year-old parasite on her mother. I was astonished they could say such hurtful things so freely, and all I could do was look at their animated faces in disbelief. The reality was that the household couldn't function financially or practically without me. Mom wasn't particularly extravagant or reckless, but her lack of real-world experience made her naive and susceptible to scams and pyramid schemes. She easily parted with her money. Most of the debt Dad left behind was actually accumulated by Mom. Randall must have known how Dad struggled with Mom's spending habits, and Mom herself was fully aware of her flaws. So what on earth were they talking about? As they repeatedly berated me, calling me a moocher, useless, and parasite daughter, I began to feel oddly detached. I thought to myself, they probably have no idea how much I contribute to the monthly expenses or how much it costs to maintain this not-so-new house. Thinking about it all, I suddenly didn't care anymore. Randall and Kayla have 2 young kids, and they're scrapping by each month. Even so, they're always looking to live beyond their means, borrowing money from Dad when he was alive. I've seen Dad struggle with this over and over. As I recalled this, another question popped into my head. I realized that most daughters-in-law probably don't want to live with their in-laws. Simple, really. Living with parents means free rent and utilities. They do the chores and even look after their 4-year-old and 2.5-year-old kids. More free time and less work, they thought. But Mom, who just eats and sleeps all day, wouldn't lift a finger to help. And Randall alone can't support the 3 of them. Then Randall said, "It's only natural for me, the eldest son, to take care of Mom." Mom chimed in, "Exactly." Hearing this, my vision cleared up, as if the clouds had parted. They took the bait so easily. Mom was quick to say she'd live with Randall and Kayla. "Really, Mom? Are you sure? You've been jerked around by them before, haven't you? When Randall sounds too good, it's usually bad news. Haven't you learned that by now? Despite Dad always warning you?" After Dad passed, I worked hard to support Mom, who wouldn't work herself. I also took care of the house even when she faked being sick just to avoid chores. Randall was the darling child, while I was the servant. Randall barely graduated from a bottom-tier high school, but had a somewhat handsome face, so he became too proud and gave up at the first hurdle. Mom adored him to an absurd extent. I worked hard, earned my qualifications, and pursued the job I wanted. Mom couldn't care less. Experiencing such blatant differences time and time again, yet still hoping things might change, now seems utterly foolish. Enough is enough. I am done. There is no reason to tolerate this any longer. I'm leaving. Yes, that's what I'm gonna do. From their perspective, I'm useless after all. Once that thought crossed my mind, I felt incredibly liberated and decided to take action. I get it. I muttered under my breath. Hearing my response, finally, you get it. They smirked. Useless people are always slow to understand. Mom and Randall exchanged sarcastic smiles. Thinking I was out of sight and out of mind, Mom, Randall, and Kayla excitedly discussed their future living arrangements. While I watched their faces with a newfound indifference, I had a thought. They might see me as a burden, but my income is actually 4 times higher than Randall and Kayla's combined. The new apartment I secured is just 5 blocks from work, a 10-minute car ride tops. I could even bike or walk there. It cuts my previous commute down to a sixth, so even if I work late or have a hectic schedule, the strain on my body will be minimal. I got excited at the idea of walking to work during the pleasant seasons. Since most of the money that used to go to my family will now go toward rent, I picked a spacious apartment with a large living room, a walk-in closet, and 2 bedrooms covering 400 square feet. I plan to use the second bedroom as an office for when I bring work home. I upgraded to a faster computer and decked out my space with a large TV and bed that I couldn't have at my parents' home. When the time came to move, I loaded up all the appliances I had purchased with my own money into the moving truck. Seeing the confused expressions of Mom, Randall, and Kayla's faces almost made me burst out laughing. The refrigerator, microwave, oven, robotic vacuum, washer, and dryer. All of it was handy-picked by me from options recommended by a friend in the appliance industry to make my life easier while balancing work and chores. Why are you taking those appliances? They belong to this house! Kayla screamed hysterically. They're appliances I bought. I just left them here because I was living here. I replied with a composed smile. Kayla clenched her teeth with a cartoonish pout, glaring at me, but it didn't scare me at all. In fact, it seemed almost comedic. Leave them. We'll be in trouble without them. This time, Mom yelled. Why would you need them when you don't even do housework, Mom? Besides, if I'm getting kicked out, why would I leave behind things I bought? As I replied with an easy smile, Mom raised her voice even higher and snapped. Are you kidding me? You freeloader! Since when did our appliances become yours? Mom kept going on like that, but I said, I guess I'll be going now. Take care, everyone. I said my goodbyes and climbed into the passenger seat of the moving truck. As we drove away, their bewildered faces were a sight to behold, and it felt incredibly satisfying. You might think I'm a bad person, but after being taken advantage of for so long and then kicked out, a little schadenfreude seems fair. The next day in my new home, Randall called, furious. What did you do with the 2 cars we had? I'm driving one, and I solved the other, I casually replied. How could you do that? How will we get by? Give it back! He screamed. Hold on. Both cars were in my name. Why would I give it back? If you need a car to get by, get your own. I couldn't help but think I was being a bit nasty. After all, I knew Randall and Kayla had traded in their own cars. Sure, it's tough to live without a car where my parents' house is, but you could always bike or take the bus. It's doable if you don't complain or get luxurious about it. Probably. How will we get by in an empty house without any appliances or cars? Randall raged. You can always buy what you need. You're working, aren't you? I responded and promptly hung up the phone. I didn't tell anyone my new address because I knew they'd come crying for help with other things too. In my new life, I welcomed a toy poodle, something I'd always wanted, and started living a peaceful, carefree life, just the 2 of us. Life without Mom, who relied on me for everything, is just a breeze. I realized how much of a burden it had been. Potty training my dog took some effort, but he's so smart and adorable. He learned sit, paw, lie down, and stay pretty quickly. He's a great companion when I'm not home, and truly a source of comfort. Ah, life is good. And, would you believe it, Mom and the others reached out to me crying just a month and a half later. Already giving up, huh? I thought as I listened to the complaints from Mom, Randall, and Kayla taking turns calling me. They can't pay back the debt Mom has accumulated, can't manage daily expenses, can't go shopping or out because they don't have a car, and nobody does, or rather can do, any housework. Their home has apparently become a total mess because the kids are dirty, disorganized, and out of control. You know you don't have to report all of this to me, right? I was the one who got kicked out. I told them after listening to all of their complaints. All three were like, come back, do the housework, contribute money. I calmly replied to each point. I can't afford that, living on my own. Stop asking for money from a useless moocher. I'm busy with work and might be relocating soon, so I can't come back. Figure it out, the three of you. What really left me dumbfounded during the conversation was learning that both Randall and Kayla had quit their jobs. Why did you quit? How did you plan to live without working? I asked. Turns out Randall and Kayla assumed Dad had left them an inheritance. What a shocker. Come on, I've told you this time and time again. Dad left us in the red. You could say it's a negative inheritance, you know? You keep freeloaders at home and Mom doesn't even work, so you must be hiding a fortune from me, right? Randall just kept going on with his assumptions, not listening to a word we said. So I finally told him, if you're so convinced, why don't you check Dad's account? When Randall and Kayla actually checked, they were stunned to find no inheritance. Still, they kept sending me messages like, help us, come back, do chores, I'm hungry, lend us money. I asked, you're going to pay it back, right? They were all left speechless. Turns out, they never intended to pay me back. They saw me as someone to exploit endlessly. Disappointing, really. I finally told them, I can't help you with anything anymore, so don't contact me. Goodbye. I blocked calls from Randall, Kayla, and even Mom. Without a car or money, I doubt they could even come to my workplace. I no longer have any connections to the wife of Mom, who has debts, and two irresponsible adults who hate working and have two kids who will need more support. Although I wish they'd become better parents or grandparents for the sake of the kids. I doubt it will happen. People don't change that easily after all. I'm financially stable, but I have no intention of being exploited any longer or giving a single cent, as the love has also vanished. In fact, it looks like I'll actually be relocating for work. I'm going to be the head of a newly established branch for a new project, and might settle there long term. So I'm thinking of buying an apartment nearby. It's a bit suburban, so it looks like I'll be able to get a pretty spacious place. I'm excited. I plan to keep working hard and enjoy life, with my dog by my side.